reverb thing. I have no idea why it was doing it, but I think I fixed it. I don't. That was strange. So yeah, we're back here. I don't hear it now, so I don't know what I did, but yeah, yeah, it was so weird. It sounded like the people talking. It was like in a cave with some weird echo. And I've gone through and adjusted kind of the sound settings, and I think that's what it was. I don't understand why where I had it at would have made it echo like that, but alas, here we are. And yeah, we just met this teacher who, yeah, he's something alright. Class 2A's teacher gives his usual spiel and leaves the room. As far as I know, he said it exactly the same way all year. Yeah, that guy's something else, guys. Yeah. I will say, you guys have already seen that Mato, I can't remember what his first name is, but he's a real weenie for sure. I don't like him at all. And yeah, I don't even know what to say about him other than that he sucks. We will learn more about him. I make my way home without taking any detours. My time as Rin Tosaka, the honor student, ends once I leave the school. Next half of the day is reserved for the other me. I have to become a mage of the Tosaka. When I arrive back at the house, I'm greeted with the pulsing light of my answering machine. I have a feeling I know what he's going to say, but I better listen or I won't hear the end of it. I press the play button and hear a familiar male voice. The priest cuts straight to the point. Yeah, I agree with Rin. He probably could find someone immediately. Yeah. You're supposed to be safe at the church. I don't know if I would feel that safe at the church. The voicemail ends. It was a clear message in simple language. If you're going to fight, then be ready by today. If you aren't, then retire because you're in the way. Fair enough. It's only to be expected, I guess. Today's the last day I can drag this out. Thankfully, I managed to decipher Father's notes yesterday. My battle preparations are in order. All that's left is to seize the right to participate, as he said.
何百年も前から伝わってきた聖杯の儀式。
The mages who take part in the Holy Grail War are called masters. It doesn't denote a rank of any kind, it merely describes their role. There's a condition to participate in the Holy Grail War. You must summon a familiar called a servant and form a contract with them. Regardless of your skills as a mage, you are not recognized as a master unless you command a servant. There's a clear difference between servants and normal familiars. The way you summon and use them are different. Mages who plan to fight in the Holy Grail War prepare summoning catalysts, but... Oh, yeah. I don't own any relics with a connection to a servant. Well, I can summon one, yes. In fact, I could do it right now if I wanted, as well as form a contract. This town's ley lines are under the jurisdiction of the Tosakas. I'm heir to a clan that's administered the land of 4 generations, so my performance will not take a back seat to some visiting mage. Although, while that's true, I'd be awfully incompetent of me to embark on a figurative voyage without a compass. Yeah, and in Fate Zero, I think everyone who summoned something had, like, some relic or something like that to bring out the servant, for the most part. In other words, I need some outrageously valuable item, like a sword or a piece of armor that servant owned, or maybe a bone or a heraldry. I have no idea what that word means. Related to... yeah, I don't know. He did. We will learn what the trump card is. The pendant I discovered in the basement last night is an ancient artifact of the highest quality. It's amazing all on its own. Still, it won't help me summon a servant. Well, famous last words. And thanks for checking in, guys. Those of you that are in watching, if you want, let me know if you've played this game before or are a fan of the Fate series. I'd rather not get another earful, and waiting until the last minute doesn't sit right with me. Now the real challenge begins. Tonight, I'm going to summon a servant while I'm in peak condition and acquire Saber by force. Well, that is a strategy. Late night. The clock reads almost 2 a.m. This is the period where everything lines up. My condition peaks at 2 a.m. sharp. In terms of limits, this will be my first and last chance. I can't even afford the slightest mistake. Now, guys, I'm fairly certain, I don't remember if this is what happens, but she's had her times mixed up all day, so the 2 a.m. thing, it might be actually 3 a.m. or something. Spooky. I inscribe magic circles into the floor of the basement. Actually, it doesn't take a major evocation to call forth a servant. Servants are invited by the Holy Grail. Masters anchor them to the world and supply the magical energy to materialize them, but servants are the ones who choose to respond to the summons. I feel like they, from what I played, I do feel like visually this does look a little bit cleaner, but than the other version I had played. Still, I need to keep cautious and focused. Magic circles are normally drawn with blood, but tonight I draw mine with melted jewels. That's a choice. I'm using up half of the jewels I've accumulated over my lifetime, so I'll never financially recover from this if it fails. You could have, like, killed a rabbit or something. I mean, her family is all into the magical jewels and stuff, so it's fitting that she chooses that, but I don't know, I feel like there's other better options. I finished drawing the summoning circle, pass down through the Tosaka line, and face it with all my being. I flick a formless switch within myself. With a click, I feel the insights turn over to something else. My normal nerves invert and become circuits for conducting magical energy. Rin Tosaka is no longer human. She's just a component in the execution of mystics. I melt from my fingers. No, I'm filled up from my fingers. The mana I'm taking is so dense it overwrites my body's sensations. That's why I'm being destroyed at the same time I'm being filled. Running through my body is the power of mana from the atmosphere. I convert it into a different type of energy through my body's circuits. A mage's body is nothing but circuits. Circuits to connect the ethereal to the material. The mystical outcome we produce is what we call magecraft. My body grows hot. It seems like horns are growing from my forehead. It seems like wings are sprouting from my back. It seems like scales are covering my hands. It feels like there's water pooling around my ankles. Well, that is quite an intense combination of feelings. Sweat drips, stabs, swords pierce my body. These are the stigmata that reject my body, which becomes a circuit. No matter how gifted a mage is, we're only human. In a human body, the pain is something we must live with whenever we use magecraft. The cycle doesn't let up. Beyond the agony, deep within the trace, lies the mental state necessary for a connection. Pain wriggles my left arm. To aid the caster, my magic crest autonomously begins an incantation invading my nervous system. The mana in the atmosphere I've taken in turns to blood. It's like molten lead. While my activated magical crest resembles thorny nerves, with a crunching sensation it creeps throughout my body like a thorny centipede. Within the hurt, I forget myself. At the same time, I can feel it taking hold of me like I've reached where I need to go. My hypersensitive hearing picks up the ticking clock in the parlor. 10 seconds left until 2 a.m. The power filling my body is unquestionably complete. Time to begin. I convert the mana I've collected into magical energy for fixation. All that's left is to feed all that energy into the engine, the summoning circle, until my body runs dry. Okay. Alright, we're getting crazy with some of these special effects now. My vision goes dark. What lies before me is now the fifth factor, said to be imperceptible to the naked eye. My vision shuts off its own, fearing what it might see. Alright. That went off without a hitch. It feels so perfect. It's like I'm reeling in a whale with a fishing rod. Flawless. I'm positive I just drew the strongest card. I can't wait for my vision to return. I'll take a few more seconds, and when it does, I'm sure the strongest servant will. Be nowhere in sight? Nothing's there. The room doesn't look different at all. I spun that much into this ritual only for absolutely nothing to materialize. On top of that, I think I just heard something explode in the parlor. I bolt. My head's empty at this point. I just run. I race up the stairs from the basement. The door in the parlor is askew off its hinges. There isn't any point in turning the doorknob, and since it won't open, whether I push or pull, I kick it down and burst into the room. And the moment I enter the parlor, everything becomes clear. Everything is in tatters. Rubble is strewn across everything, as if something has fallen through the ceiling. And on top of that sits this man cocking his head arrogantly. He must be some kind of criminal. But something graver draws my attention. The grandfather cop, having escaped the destruction, tells me the time precisely. Now I remember. Right, of course. The clocks were an hour ahead today, weren't they? Which means it's 1 a.m. Still a full hour until I'm in peak spellcasting form. Should have fixed the clocks. I can complete tasks as well as anybody else, but suffer from the curse of my genetics. When it really counts, I somehow managed to bungle things on an unbelievable level. I can't believe my own stupidity. Still irritated, I direct my glare at the man lounging haughtily on the rubble. I love their relationship in this. The man in the red mantle shakes his head in a show of exasperation. To add insult to injury, he mutters something about drawing the short straw. Oh, now I'm dead certain. This guy has a messed up personality. And is this a servant? I thought familiars were shapeless beings, but this is just a man. No, not just a man. Even from here I could tell that it's brimming with a shocking amount of magical energy. Don't be fooled by its appearance. I'm staring at something that's undoubtedly more than human. It's a human-shaped ghost that's on the level of an elemental. This is no time to be dumbstruck. That thing belongs to me. I need to get my head in the game. Both of them are so dramatic. Yeah, I can't remember why that actually is. Like, I feel like he should have been summoned to the magic circle. The unidentified servant frowns and grunts, and a grunt escapes his list. Maybe he didn't like the way I said it, though he has a mixed reaction, as if still impressed by the logic in my words. She's got such attitude.
ことないわよ。主従関係は一番初めにはっきりさせておくべきものだもの。
Eh. The servant's eyebrow twitches. He isn't even bothering to hide his dissatisfaction with me. I wonder if it's because of the half-baked summoning.
主従関係ははっきりさせておくか。やることはしてんだろうが、口だけは達者だし。
Damn.
確かにその意見には賛成だ。どちらが強者で、どちらが弱者なのか、明確にしておかなければ、お互いやりづらかろう。
The servant's eyes me meaningfully, still relaxed on the rubble of my living room.
どちらが弱者かですって。
私もサーバントだ。呼ばれたからには主従関係を認めるさ。
Yeah, even though these people summon, you mean these powerful beings and they're supposed to be the master, they have a mind of their own and everything, and they're super powerful.
共に戦うにふさわしい相手かを測るのは別になる。さあ、その件でいくと、君は私のマスターにふさわしい魔術師なのかな、お嬢さん。
The servant smirks. First he destroys my house and acts like he's king of the castle, and now he has the nerve to ask me whether I'm worthy?
あなたの意見なんて聞いてないわ。私が聞いているのは、あなたが私のサーバントかどうかってことだけよ。
Yeah, not off to the best start. I repeat myself, stealing my gaze. I'm not going back down from this condescending jerk.
なるほどなるほど。そんな当たり前のことは答えるまでもないと。実に勇ましい。いや、気概だけなら立派なマスターだが。
だから順番を間違えるなっていうの。一番初めに確認するのは召喚者の務めよ。さあ答えなさい。あなたは私のサーバントなのね。
Now, if you guys have seen Fate Zero, I think my favorite relationship between Summoner and Servant is the Alexander the Great Ryder and the guy who summoned him. Ryder's just such a likable guy in that.
強情なお嬢さんだ。これでは話が進まんな。仕方あるまい。仮に私が君のサーバントだとしよう。で、その場合、君が私のマスターなのか。いや、
当たり前じゃない。あなたが私に呼ばれたサ
Oh
ーバ
my
ントだ。
gosh.
あなたのマスターは私以外に誰がいるっていうのよ。
I glare at this rude man, giving me a seething head, giving my seething head a moment to cool down.
そうか。まあ仮の話なんだが、とりあえずそうだとしよう。それで、君が私のマスターである証はどこにある？
The servant blithely asks, smirking all the while. He's clearly trying to goad me with these questions into losing my temper.
ここよ。あなたのマスターである証ってこれでしょ。
I show him the command spells on my right hand. Don't think I was born yesterday. Father told me enough to know that what the command spells are at least.
納得いった？これでもまだ文句を言うの？
I thrust the symbol at him in challenge, but the lounging servant rolls his eyes.
本気で言ってるのか、お嬢さん。
His face darkens, looking even more disgruntled.
本気かってなんでよ。
その考えがだ。霊樹があればマスターなのか。霊樹などサーバントを利すると。
Yeah, she does have to make a pact with him.
まったく、そんな形だけのものでマスターブルとはな。私が見たかったのは、君が忠誠を振るうにふさわしい人物だと。
She about to get mad with this, that's for sure. That makes sense, but normally you think command spell think of command spells if someone asks you for proof you're a master, right?
何よそれじゃあ私はマスター失格？
そう願いたいがそうはいくまい。霊種がある以上私の召喚者は
So he just like agrees with what she just uses to prove.
君は本当に私のマスターだ。
He's such a dick. Uh-oh. I've reached my boiling point, and I'm not gonna cool down in time.
だと思った不満だが認めよう。とりあえず君は私のマスターだ。だが私にも条件がある。私は今後君の言うことには従わない。戦闘方針は私が決めるし、君はそれに従って行動する。これが最大の譲歩だ。それで構わないな、お嬢さん。
I mean, there's no concessions there at all. Sorry, father. I'm at my limit. Okay. Okay.
不満だけど認めるくせに私の意見には取り合わないってどういうことかしら。あなたは私のサーバントなんでしょ？
I ask in a trembling voice. After our spat over the command spells, this is my last desperate attempt at dialogue. And yet...
形の上だけはな。故に形式上は君に従って。
This freaking guy.
戦うのは私自身だ。君はそれなら未熟な君でも命だけは助かるだろう。
He looks down on me, declaring that he expects nothing from me.
怒ってるか？いや、もちろん君の立場は尊重するよ。
Oh my gosh.
マスターを勝利させるために呼ばれたものだからな。
I like had totally forgotten how big of
私の勝利は君のものだし、
a dick he
戦われる
is.
ものは全て君に触れてやる。それなら文句はなかろう。どうせ君に霊樹は使えまい。まあ、後のことは私に任せて、君は自分の身の安全を。
Oh gosh.
玉来た。いいわ、そんなに言うなら使ってやろうじゃない。アンファン。
No more mercy. I've got nothing else left for a jackass like this.
まさか。
She's so freaking...
そのまさかよ、この礼儀知らず。フィアトワーク、I know your nugget. I know your
Such a waste.
I know your sweat.
She's literally summoned him 10 minutes ago.
待て、正気がマスター。そんなことで霊樹を使うやつが。
I mean, that's kind of Rin. You're getting a good picture of what she is like here.
いい？あんたは私のサーバント。なら私の言い分には絶対服従ってもんでしょ。
The emblem on my right hand aches. 3 command spells. They allow a master to issue 3 unbreakable commands to their servants.
考えなさい、君は。こんな大雑把なことに霊樹を使う。
Yeah. That's a huge problem here, guys. It's too late to whine now. I don't expect this to happen. Didn't expect this to happen either. I want to die of self-loathing. I can't believe you just burned one of my precious command spells on a petty squabble. I mean, are we shocked here? After that, I retreated from the ruins of the parlor and went to my bedroom. Before me stands a servant whom my command spell compelled to absolute obedience from. Supposedly, anyways. Yeah, that's like using a wish to ask for more wishes almost. It's not gonna... I mean, yeah. It depends on how stubborn the summon is.
なるほど。君の性質は大体理解したぞ、マスター。
Who would call this absolute obedience?
念のため尋ねるが、君はレイジがどれほど重要か理解しているのか。
This is a fair question to ask her.
知ってるわよ。サーバントを律する3回きりの命令権でしょ。それが何よ。
いいかね。レイジはサーバントを強制的に行動させるものだ。
In the chat, let me know if you think she will keep any of her, how fast she will go through all 3 of her command spells.
それは行動を止めるだけでなく、行動を強化させるという意味でもある。例えば、私はここから遠くの場所まで瞬間的には移動できない。だが、レイジで行けと命じれば。
Oh, okay.
私と君の
Yeah, this makes her thing even dumber, to be honest, but
強制命令権とはそういうことだ。サーバント自身でも制御できない肉体の限界さえ突破させる大魔術の結晶が3つのレイジなのだ。まあ今では2つに減ってしまったがな。
知ってるわよ、そんなこと。いいじゃない、まだ2つあるんだし。
it certainly was kind of waste.
確かにこれは私の誤算だった。レイジというものは曖昧な命令には効きが弱くなる。私を守り通せ、この戦いに勝てなどといった広く長く効果が続くものにはレイジの力が弱くなる。効きが長く続くが逆に次の一撃を死ぬ気で放て、あのブラストを壊すなどいった単一の命令は絶対で、よほど強力なサーバントでも逆らうのは難しく。
Yeah, this is pretty important for kind of setting up the world
ここまでで
and to know how stupid and not stupid, but I'm trying to think of the word for Rin. She is very like flies by the seat of her pants, I guess is the saying.
要するに広く長い命令は意味がないんでしょ。効果も戒めも薄いならサーバントはレイジュに逆らって行動できる。そんな効き目の薄い命令をするなら
It's not completely pointless because when she's trying to like discuss things with them, it can just be because apparently I think it hurts them is what he said. So it's not like the worst thing in the world. If he, for random kind of arguments or strategies, he'll probably just do what she says because
そうレイジとはもともと自分たちの能力以上の奇跡を起こすためのもの。それを大王の聞く命令などで消費する句は許されない。君の先ほどのレイジはまさにそれだ。私が君に従うかは話し合いで解決できないことだ。
yeah, that's fair.
仮にレイジを使ったところで全ての言動に絶対復讐などレイジは100あっても実現できない。
じゃあ私のさっきのレイジは無意味ってこと？
通常ならそうなのだがな。どうも君の魔術師としての性能は桁が違ったらしい。
Oh, so because she's so powerful, it actually. Is he shocked or happy? My servant's lips twitch upward, even as he sighs.
桁が違ったってもしかして。ちょっとあなた、自分が今どんな状態なのか正直に話してみなさい。
The implication dawns on me, and I ask him eagerly.
誤算というのはそれだ。先ほどの命令では少しはマスターの意見を尊重しようという程度の心変わりにしかならない。だが今の私は君の言葉に強い強制を感じている。君の意見に異を唱えると、そうだな、ランクが一つばかり落ちるようだ。つまりマスターの意向に逆らうと体が重くなって動きづらいというところだ。
Okay. Yeah, this is all important stuff. So he's saying that my command spell wasn't a waste, but actually an actual benefit. He's still being sarcastic as ever, so it doesn't seem to have had any effect. Besides, even if he's weakened, I doubt 10 of me could resist if he decided to rebel against me. Well, that is certainly true. These things are so strong.
マスター年齢は若いが君は卓越した魔術師だ子供とあったのに戦いから遠ざけようとしたのは私の過ちだった無礼ともども謝る
Hold on, I'm gonna adjust this a little bit. Okay. The servant straightens his posture and gives me a formal bow.
やめてよ。確かにいろいろ言い合ったけど、そんなの喧嘩両成敗っていうか。
そうかいや話のわかるマスターが助かった
なんか切り返し早いわね、あんた。
何誤算は誤算だったが嬉しい誤算というやつだったからなこれほどの才能がある
Yeah, she is incredibly powerful. Definitely a prodigy. Is this a roundabout way of saying I'm a strong
じ
master?
ゃあ、レイジュ抜きで私がマスターだって認めるのね。
無論だ先ほどは召喚されたばかりで馴染んでいなかったが今では完全につながった
契約？
Now that he mentions it, something does feel weird about my body. As if my closed off nerves are now connected to the outside. Specifically, I can feel a portion of magical energy flowing to the man before me.
サーバントは聖杯に呼ばれるけど、呼ばれたサーバントをこの世に留めるのは
そうマスターの力だサーバントはマスターからの魔力提供によってこの世にとどまる魔力提供量は十分だ経験的に問題はありそうだが君の能力は飛び抜けている普通の魔術師ならばサーバントを召喚した瞬間に意識を失っているだろうだというのに君は活力に満ちている
Yeah.
先ほどの例示という
Yeah, guys, this will certainly pick up. We're in the prologue still.
今更褒めたって何も出ないけど。
I break eye contact out of embarrassment. Well, I didn't see this coming. I know the command spell is making him obey me, but still, this superhuman servant is sincerely acknowledging me as his master.
で、あなた何のサーバント？
I clear my head and return to business.
見てわからないかああそれは結構
I take it all back. He's definitely making fun of me.
わかったわ。これはマスターとしての質問よ。ねえ、あなたセイバーじゃないの？
残念ながら剣は持っていない
I suspected as much. When all is said and done, I got the time wrong, my summoning circles didn't do its job, and my servant was spat out in a random room. It was far too sloppy of a ritual to summon the strongest servant, Saber.
ドジったわ。あれだけ宝石を使っておいてセイバーじゃないなんて目も当てられない。
悪かった
Yeah, it's kind of offensive to him.
ああ、そりゃ痛恨のミスだから残念だけど、悪いのは私なんだから。
どうせアーチャーでは派手さに欠けるだろうよ
Archer is a very useful class.
いいだろう後で今の暴言を悔やませてやるその時になって謝っても聞かないからな
はい？
What a surprise. The unidentified servant seems to be sulking. Maybe my fixation on Saber offended him. Yeah, you were kind of rude about it.
触った見ていろ必ず自分が幸運だったと思い知らせてやる
Yeah, in Zero, Archer is, wait. Yeah, Archer's goated in Zero. So, he has a really spiteful air about him, but that reaction felt somehow childish and free of malice. You know, he might be a pretty decent guy.
それじゃあ必ず私を後悔させて、あーちゃん。そうなったら素直に謝らせてもらうから。
ああ忘れるなよマスター己が召喚したものがどれほどのものか知って感謝するがいいもっともその時になって謝られる
I mean, I think we all know it's, he's gonna be a beast, but, cause, oh, Boogie Woogie, I just saw your message. This is my second time, but I only got about 10 hours in last time, and it crashed, and I could not I have a Mac, and this kind of roundabout way I got of playing it to translate it to English. It worked for 10 hours, and then it broke, and then I tried to fix it and it didn't. So I've been waiting about 3 years to actually play this. Archer huffs even as his lips twist into a grin. Oh yeah, this one's gotten a rotten personality, alright.
まあいいわ。それであんたどこの英霊なのよ。
Archer doesn't answer. His sardonic expression is replaced by a deepening frown.
あーちゃん？マスターである私がサーバントであるあなたに聞いているんだけど。
それは秘密だ
は？
私がどのようなものだったかは答えられないなぜかという
あのね、つまんない理由だったら怒るわよ。
それは
There's that face again. Archer opens and closes his mouth as if he's having trouble voicing an uncomfortable truth.
なぜかというと自分でもわからない
Wait, what?
何よそれ。あんた私のことバカにしてるわけ？
マスターを侮辱するつもりはないただこれは君の不完全な召喚のつけだぞどうも記憶に
Yeah, really blaming it on her here.
自分が何者であるかはわかるのだが名前や素性がどうも曖昧だまあさして重要な欠落ではないから気にすることはないのだが
気にすることはない。気にするわよそんなの。あんたがどんな英霊か知らなきゃどのくらい強いのかわからないじゃない。
Yeah, yeah, Boogie Woogie. It was the fan translation. This, I could already tell. I don't remember a ton from the first 10 hours I had read it, but I can tell this translation is really good so far.
なんだそんなことは問題ではなかろうさまつな問題だよそれは
さまつってあんたね。相棒の強さでわからないんじゃ作戦の立てようがないでしょ。そんなんで戦っていけるわけないじゃない。
何を言う私は君が呼び出したサーバントだそれが最強でないはずがない
He's so straightforward. The Crimson Knight fixes me with a gaze of full confidence and trust. My brain grinds to a halt. There's no description in Archer's words. He's sincerely giving me credit, more credit than I deserve, even though we've just met. My cheeks are burning. Ugh, I'm sure I'm blushing red right now. Surprise attacks like this tend to be my weakness.
も 誰にも正体がわからないってことには変わりはないんだし、敵を騙すにはまず味方からって言うし。
I turn away from Archer to hide my embarrassment. I'm sure I'll figure out in due time what servant he is anyways. For now, we'll have other priorities.
わかった。しばらくあなたの正体に関しては不問にしましょう。それじゃあ、最初の仕事だけど。
早速か。好戦的な君は。
She is aggressive.
それで敵は
Before he can say enemy, I toss a broom and dustpan at him.
下の掃除。
Oh my gosh.
あんたが散らかしたんだから責任持ってきれいにしといてね。
I forgot how annoying she is with certain stuff. A few seconds pass in stunned silence. When Archer finally regains his senses, he grips a broom indignantly.
待て。君はサーバントを何だと思っている。
使い魔でしょ。ちょっと生意気で扱いに困るけど。
Archer cuts himself off. I have no intention of letting him off, and if he tries to weasel out of it, I still have a card to play.
意義あり。そのような命令はこと。
いいの？これマスターとしての命令よ。マスターの方針に逆らったら体が重くなるんだって。
I mean, he does have magical powers. I'm pretty sure he could just, like, kind of fix everything, but...
まあ、あなたはその程度じゃどうってことないだろうけど、そのペナルティは今を掃除するまで続くのよ。そんな状態で明日から戦っていくのは危ないんじゃない？
He stands there for several more seconds with a broom in hand, grumbling under his breath. And so, the archer in the red mantle closes his eyes. I don't know if that's right.
了解した。地獄に落ちる。まさに
And gracefully accepts my... Or I don't know if that's gracefully, but... Now then. It's getting late, so I should rest. I can decide how to deal with him once I wake up. A fateful day draws to a close. No, rather my fate was shaped by this night. That makes 6, including me. Once the 7th and final master summons their servant, the Holy Grail war of this generation will begin. In the not-so-distant future, the battle I've been waiting 10 long years for is about to commence. February 1st. Right around my birthday. The Holy Grail War. It's a grand ritual that's been repeated for hundreds of years. A fight to the death between 7 participants, of which only one can survive. It's said that the Holy Grail exists in the land of Fiyuki, and that a number of mages fought over it in the past. Their one and only objective was to obtain the relic called the Holy Grail. However, the Holy Grail's origins are unclear. We're sure it isn't the chalice that held the blood of God, but it is the power fearsome enough to be compared to the genuine article. That's right. They say the Holy Grail can grant any wish. Only one person can possess it. The Holy Grail can only grant one wish for one person. Despite that, 7 mages are needed to summon the Grail to this land. 7 collaborators to create one miracle. So as you might imagine, it was only a matter of time before they started fighting over the Grail. Like so many conflicts, it started as a competition over property rights. The 7 mages equally used the power of the Holy Grail to summon their respective familiars, then do battle over the Grail itself. Only one mage can obtain the Grail. As a result, 7 people who have started as colleague ended up in ferocious battles to the death. That's the gist of the ritual known as the Holy Grail War, a struggle for ownership between mages. The mages chosen by the Holy Grail are called Masters, who use the blessing of the Holy Grail to acquire powerful familiars known as servants. Well, that was a fast way to see all the classes. 2 things serve as proof that one has become a master: the summoning and command of a servant, and the mark of command spells to compel the servant's servitude. The first goes without saying. The archer I summoned yesterday, no, a few hours ago to be exact, is Rin Tosaka's servant. As far as the second, a master must closely guard the command spells that control one's servant. This is probably the most critical aspect of being a master. When I summoned Archer, the symbols appeared on my right hand, namely command spells. Stigmata bestowed by the Holy Grail upon summoning of a servant that marks one's new status as a master. A massive amount of magical energy is compressed into these seals, whose power is fleeting rather than long-lasting. They disappear once they're used, and their shape suggests each mark represents a single use. In other words, one only gets 3 shots. There we go. A master has used up all 3 command spells, can no longer control a servant, and is as good as dead. Therefore, command spells must be handled with care until the very end, since they're as valuable as one's own life. It pains me to no end that I burned 1 right off the bat, but it wasn't a total waste, so I'll chalk it up as a win. After all, a servant could turn on its master at any time. If 1 command spell is what it takes to put a collar on him, then I consider it a fair trade. That's about it for the broader strokes of this business. Once 7 servants have been summoned, the Holy Grail War will begin. Tonight's sleep will be a fitful one. I don't know when the final master will appear, but they could be right around the corner. Well, I feel sluggish. My bleary gaze goes up to the window, only to see that it's already bright outside. After a drowsy check of the clock, I make up my mind to skip school today. Honestly, it's not a bad call to skip school when the Holy Grail War starts. Sitting up in bed, I heave a long sigh. Not being a morning person isn't enough to explain why I feel so dull. I think Archer mentioned something about it. A master would be out of commission after summoning a servant. I remember it all clearly now. I'd rather not, to be honest, but it's not as if denying the facts will let me do it over. I dragged myself out of bed. Okay, I need to go to the restroom real quick. I'll be right back, guys. Okay. Whew. I feel much better. Yeah, I have to, I forgot how slow this beginning part is, Boogie Woogie. Yeah, yeah. That was, the funny thing is, I remember it took me forever to get through the, kind of opening and all that stuff, and then I was getting to good stuff, and then, that's when it broke. I was so annoyed. Nothing out of place aside from the loss of half of my usual magical energy.
問題なんてあるわけないけど。
I review the situation. I summon the servant Archer, who doesn't have an ounce of respect for his master. To make matters worse, he doesn't even know who he is. Wow, talk about a headache.
あいつの記憶が戻るまで切り札は封印か。思い出せないんじゃ使いようがないしね。
What did Nasu also do for visual novel? I cannot remember. Servants are strong familiars all on their own, but what makes them truly formidable is the secret weapon they each possess. Frustratingly, Archer claims to have forgotten what his is.
まあ、火はこっちにもあるし、なんとかやっていくしかないか。
We're both in the same boat then. I can only pray he'll sort out his memories out, but who knows how long that might take. Good grief. I've really got my work cut out for her.
見直したか。
Dang. I gotta have him clean up my house. The parlor is completely back to normal. Though he maybe just, I thought he might just clear away the detriment. I think it meant to say debris. But the room is so spotless, I can't help but be impressed. He must have felt bad for wrecking the place. I doubt he would have gone to the trouble otherwise. I guess I ought to commend him for being a more decent guy than I.
日はとっくに昇っているぞ。また、随分とだらしがないんだな、君は。
I retract my statement. There isn't a remorseful bone in his body.
おはよう。そういうあんたは随分とリラックスしてるよね。今を好き勝手使ってくれちゃってさ。
なあ、一晩過ごした部屋だからな。どこに何があるか把握したよ。ああ、ついでだから厨房も片付けておいた。
Yeah, it is wild. Just one person living in a giant mansion like that.
一人暮らしの洋館にしては上等だな。
I have a headache. Why do I have to put up with a servant judging my interior decoration? I thought servants all cared only about fighting. Are we sure this guy isn't defective?
なるほど。本調子ではなさそうだな。昨夜元気だ。
This guy.
紅茶でよければごちそうしよう。
Acting like he owns the place, without missing a beat, Archer produces a teacup and fills it with expensive reddish tea he's been brewing. There's a lot I want to say right now, but oddly enough I can't work up the indignation to. The way he does it all is so refined. I've got to admit, he might be rather cultured.
まあいいけど、疲れてるのは事実だし、飲む。
I sit down on the chair. The teacup is placed soundlessly in front of me. I take a sip. Oh, it's delicious. I expected as much since it's my favorite Chinese tea, a spring harvest Hong Cha. I'd be upset if it didn't taste good. On that note, I'd normally be upset if someone used my favorite tea leaves without asking. It makes me mad, but the tea was brewed so exquisitely that the pleasure it brings overcomes my anger.
ちょっと、何笑ってるのよあんた。
何 感想が聞きたかったが、その顔では聞くまでもないと思っただけだ。
Yeah, these two do have really good chemistry. Her, I have to say, Rin, when she gets embarrassed or like flustered, she is super cute. I set the teacup down with a forceful thud.
もったいない。熱いうちに味わった方がいいぞ。私が気に障るなら消えているが。
ごちそうさま。結構よ。私は茶坊主が欲しくてマスターになったわけじゃないわ。あなたもね、頼みもしないことをする必要はないわよ。
Homegirl needs to take a chill pill.
そうか。確かに私も茶坊主になったり後片付けをするために契約したわけではない。君がそういうのならばこれからは気をつけよう。
ええ、私が求めているのは戦力としての使い魔よ。家事をこなすサーバントなんて聞いたことがないし、する必要も特にないわ。
I mean, she literally made him do the chores.
特にはないとは。
別に好きなようにとって結構よ。それよりあなた自分の正体は思い出せた
Archer shakes his head in the negative. That doesn't bode well. If he can't remember after a single night, then his memories probably won't return easily. There are some measures I can try today, but...
わかった。あなたの記憶に関してはおいおい対策を考えとく。じゃあ出かける支度をしてハッチャー。召喚されたばかりで勝手もわからないでしょ。街を案内してあげるから。
出かける支度？いや、そんな必要はないだろう。出るのならばすぐに出られるが。
あのね、そんな格好で出歩くつもり？どう見ても普通じゃないし、他のマスター
Yeah,
がい
that
たら一発で
that's a
裁判
very
でわかるじゃない。
fair point.
私、自分から私はマスターですなんて言いふらす気はないんだけど。
ああ、そういうことか。それも問題はない。確かに着替える必要はあるが、それは実体化している時だけでね。サーバントはもともと霊体だ。非戦闘時には霊体になってマスターにかける負担を減らす。
ああ、そっか。召喚されたって英霊は英霊だものね。霊体に肉体を与えるのはマスターの魔力なんだから。
自然。我々も霊体に戻る。そうなったサーバントは守護霊のようなものだ。レイラインで繋がっているマスター以外には観測されない。
Yeah, I mean, this isn't... Obviously, this is going a bit slow, but they are doing a good job explaining and world building and everything.
だが魔術師は魔術師を知覚できるだろう。それと同じでサーバントもサーバントを感知できる。
And yeah, I have played, or I have watched Unlimited Blade Works and Heaven's Feel, so I'm going to be attempting to go through the Fate route. I don't know how any of that works, but I know it's more focused around Saber, so I think I will have to make I'm going to make decisions kind of that way, I guess. Archer has it in 1. Masters are supposed to be capable mages. And the more magical energy the mage has, the better they are at detecting traces of magical energy. As far as I know, however, there isn't anyone else around with that degree of power.
で、あんたはどうなの？他のサーバントの位置、わかる？
マスター、私のクラスは何か忘れたのか？遠く離れた敵の位置を探るなど、仕上がりにできるものか？
Scare faraway enemies? He has a point. Archer's magical energy isn't on that level. it's likely that only magically powerful caster is capable of easily locating this. Yeah, that would make sense, actually.
わかったわ。じゃあとりあえず後についてきて、アーチャー。
He does have his benefits, though. I do remember that.
そう目新しいものではなさそうだがね。それよりマスター、君、大切なことを忘れていないか？
え？大切なことって何？
まったく、君、まだ本調子ではないぞ。
Oh, that's
契約に
right.
おいて最も重要な交換を私たちは未だしていない。
契約において最も重要な。
Is it blood? Is he demanding equivalent exchange? No, that can't be. The chance to take part in the Holy Grail War is already reward enough for his servant. There shouldn't be anything else left to trade.
君な、朝は弱いんだな、本当に。
Archer sounds exasperated. His sardonic manner of speech finally gives me an idea. Come to think of it, he's never once called me by my name.
ああ、しまった。名前。
Yeah, that is a good point with foreshadowing.
思い当たったか？まあ、今からでも遅くはないさ。それでマスター、君の名前は？これからは何と呼べばいい？
Archer sounds sulky. Oh man, he really is a decent person. I'm sure of it now. After all, there's no tangible benefit to exchanging names. Servants are forcefully bound to their masters by command spells. While names are the key to contracting with regular familiar, there's no need for a master and servant to be so intimate. But it's important to Archer. He's clearly trying to establish trust between comrades in arms, regardless of the command spells.
私、遠坂凛よ。あなたの好きなように呼んでいいわ。
I answer in a clipped tone, unwilling to let slip any admiration. He'll probably just call me something impersonal like master or hey you, which works just fine for me. Except... Archer chews on Rin Tosaka for a moment.
それではリンと。ああ、この響きは実に君に似合っている。
Yeah, just right away calling her by her first name, she's probably going to be annoyed by this. He says something really forward.
リン、どうした？何やら顔色がおかしいな。
うるさい。いいからさっさと行くわよ、あーちゃん。とにかくのんびりしてる暇なんてないんだから。
I turn on my heel and storm away, huffing. This is so infuriating. I'm not even sure why. Damn that Archer. Did he just say that to mess with me?
ありえる。こいつなら絶対そうだ。
Yeah, I'm sure that's it. Must be all part of his plan to get me all flustered. I'd better be careful. Gotta work with this wise guy from here on out. I take Archer outside. Fuyuki City is my hometown. It's broadly divided into two halves. There's Miyama, which is left over from the village the city grew out of, and Shinto, the developing modern region across the river. My house is in Miyama, the old part. Miyama itself is split into two areas. The European-style neighborhoods, originally inhabited by immigrants from abroad. Oops. And the old Japanese-style houses set against the mountainous backdrop. Both areas are situated on hilltops along the outskirts of town. The street dividing the two residential areas is fairly normal by comparison. How normal, you ask? This normal. This is the crossroads of Miyama. One side lies the road going up the hill to the European neighborhoods where I live. Opposite is the road to the Japanese houses, and between them is a path leading into Shinto, where my school and the shopping areas are, as well as the Ryudo Temple in the mountains. We come to the bridge connecting Shinto and Miyama. Years ago, big train stations went up into Shinto, bringing it with it frenzied urbanization. They may belong to the same municipality, but Miyama and Shinto couldn't be more different. The name Fuyuki, written in kanji for winter tree, is supposedly inspired by the long winters here, which, by the by, are pretty long. Despite that, temperatures are warm. February here is only about as cold as the very start of winter elsewhere. I bet if you randomly started digging, you'd turn up a hot spring or two. Though of course, our temperature weather disqualifies this town as a hot spring resort location. We got an odd climate where the mild winters suddenly turn to springtime bloom come April. This is what Shinto looks like. A number of tall buildings have been erected as if in a hurry, giving a hastily developed city a distinctly artificial feel. It all happened in the last decade or so. 10 years ago, there was a large fire that wiped out a residential area. Someone built a bunch of glass and metal buildings on that depopulated area of 10 years ago. So that's when Fate Zero happened, of course. And here is the center of it all.
ここが信徒の公園よ。これで主だったところを歩いて回ったわけだけど、感想は？
I ask Archer who's next to me. Of course he's invisible.
だというのに人気がないのは何か理由でもある。
やっぱりそう見える？まあ、ここはちょっとした曰くがあるから。
I look out over the park. You think a wide open space like this would have children playing in it, even on a weekday. But instead, there are only a handful of people. This place feels dull and lifeless.
10年前の話よ。この辺り一帯で大きな火事があったんだって。火は一日燃え続けて、雨が降り出した頃に消えたんだとか。その後町は復興したけど、ここだけはそのままなの。
Yeah, I'm about to get to that part in Fate Zero. Archer says nothing, but I can tell he sensed something odd, even if I can't see him.
気づいたみたいね。そうよ。ここが前回の聖杯戦争決着の地。私も事情は知らないけど、前回の聖杯戦争はここで終結してそれきり。
なるほど。それでこんなにもここは往年に満ちているというわけか。
わかるの？そういうの。
Yeah, even though I don't remember a ton, I do specifically remember when I was reading this like gray part talking about Fate Zero stuff. I feel like once we're almost towards the end of the prelude for sure.
街中でも濃い場所はあるが、ここは別格だ。我らから見れば固有結界のそれに近い。
Chosaka mutters under her breath. Archer's inflectionless voice mentions an unusual bit of magical jargon. Oh yeah. In 8 bounded fields, mages called reality marbles. Yeah, reality marbles are considered one of the apexes of magecraft. They're said to be infinitely close to true magic. For the last few centuries, bounded fields have served mages as defensive barriers. To put it in simple terms, they're like a home security system with real teeth. Bounded fields are conveniently erected on a piece of land or a building to guard against outside threats. They're merely an alteration of an area that already exists. Reality marbles, however, are something else entirely. You can think of them as a space that consumes reality itself. When a mage materializes their imaginary world, a representation of their mind, it overwrites the real world with it, and we call the resulting field a reality marble. It's a large area magecraft that twists, no, rebuilds the world according to the mage's wishes. Jujutsu Kaisen goes crazy with reality marble stuff.
ちょっと意外だったから。こういう結界だなんて、アーチャーのくせに珍しい言葉を知ってるね。
Well,
知っていてはおかしいか。
だってそうじゃない。こういう結界っていうのは魔術師にとっては禁忌中の禁忌。奥義の中の奥義だもの。
yeah, but you don't really know. Not to spoil anything, but yeah, I'm not going to spoil anything, but yeah, you would, if he's a heroic spirit, he could have been summoned to a bunch of things before. I don't know how memories work with the times they're summoned and how time works for all of that. Yeah, that could be kind of confusing to, once you start going down that rabbit hole, you pulling the string, it starts to not make sense. So I shoot a quizzical gaze, I don't know if that's a word, in his general direction. I reply, I feel an incorporeal sigh.
リン、英雄とは剣術、魔術に長けたものを指す。アーチャーだからといって弓しか使えないと思うのは勝手だが、私以外のサーバントにそんな楽観は持たないでくれ。
Yeah, I mean, he's a pretty unique. I'm pretty sure Gilgamesh was Archer also. Wasn't he? I'm pretty sure he was. Oof, that does make sense when he puts it like that.
わかったわよ。今のは軽率な発言だったわ。次からは気をつけるから、これでいいでしょ？
リン、ズバリ言おう。君は優秀だが、それゆえに他人を過小評価する欠点がある。
That's a fair
成
point.
人するまでには強制したまえ。
何気に失礼なこと言うわね、あんた。
And of course she gets very offended by that. Break my habit. He's talking about me like an unruly racehorse.
いや、失礼。別にリンがジャジャ馬
And then he knew exactly what.
イメージ通りの表現を使っただけというか。
なおさら悪いわ。
Ooh. My right hand suddenly flares with pain.
ちょっと黙って、あーちゃん。
Alright, what's going on here? The command spell on my right hand hurt. They're throbbing, almost like a dull alarm warning their owner. Who is this? I scan my surroundings. I mentally weave a detection web and cast it out over the park. Maybe it's like assassin or something? Yeah, I can't remember. I mean, assassin would be a good guess since they're probably the best at being undetected. I don't know who it is, but if Archer can't tell, then it must be a master. We don't have all 7 yet, but the fighting could start at any time. Maybe whoever's watching me is up for an early skirmish. Oh, I remember who it is, actually. It is a master, but...
いくら霊樹同士が反応するっていう
Yeah,
その
I'm
霊樹だっ
like
て魔力で発動するんだ
99.9% sure who I know who it
マスター
is.
自身が魔術回路を閉じていれば見つけることは難しいわ
Although so many events change based on the past, like pretty significantly.
ではこちらはいいように位置を知らせているということか。
でしょうねまあ私だって家探しすれば魔力殺しぐらいは見つかるだろうけど
必要ないと。
だって隠さなければ向こうから
I don't know if that's a good thing. Let some people beat each other up first. Archer doesn't respond. Maybe he's irritated with me.
何よ自信過剰はいけないって言いたいの
Yeah, that ain't smart. I ask a little defensive, thinking of our earlier exchanges. Archer mentally brushes the question aside.
君はそのままが一番強い。小物には付きまとわせてやるがよかろう。
He knows her well already. I can feel the smirk in his tone. Yeah, someone's like that impulsive to just go and attack them right in the beginning. Probably not the best or most strategic of fighters. I'm not saying I like what he said, but it's enough of an olive branch, I suppose. We start walking around town again. I spend the day talking to him, taking him to all the important places, and even drop by some less significant spots that might be useful to know. After dinner, I make our final stop. It's now after 7 in the evening. This is a good chance to show him the best vantage point in the city. Oh yeah. And since he's Archer, obviously this is awesome for him. The Wind House, we're atop the tallest building in Shinto. The commanding view of the city makes it fitting for an end to our
どう
tour.
ここなら見通しがいいでしょあーちゃん
将来君と付き合う男に同情するな。
あ何か言ったあーちゃん
素直な感想を少し。と、確かにいい場所だ。初めからここに来れば。
Such a good point.
何言ってるのよ確かに見晴らしはいいけどここからわかるのは街の前景だけじゃない実際に
そうでもないな。あーちゃんの
Yeah.
観察だけではない。
Their whole thing is
君
vision.
は目が良くなければ務まらん。
そうなのそれじゃあここから家が見えるあーちゃん
いや、さすがに隣町までは見えない。せいぜい
Dude,
橋あたり。
count the number of tiles on the
そ
bridge.
こまでなら。
That's probably a mile away is insane.
嘘タイルって橋のタイル
I didn't expect this vision to be as good as the telescopes I often see on the rooftops. Sharp Eye doesn't begin to cut it.
びっくりあーちゃんって本当にあーちゃんなんだ
I mean, if he didn't have good vision, what would he...
まさかとは思うが、君、私をバカにしているんじゃないだろうな。
そんなわけないでしょたださあなたってあーちゃんって言われには弓使いっぽくない
I mean, he's not really.
それは問題発言だ。帰ってから追求しよう。
With that, Archer goes quiet for a while. He must like the landscape from up here. He's probably considering the layout of the city. I shouldn't interrupt him while he's thinking. I step away from Archer and approach the edge of the rooftop. All I can see from here are the lights below. Headlights flow through the streets, and I can make out the people on the way home from work. I could tell what kinds of cars they are, or who exactly is walking. I could see them, but not clearly. It's not like how I could tell someone was watching me earlier, even if I couldn't pinpoint them.
少なくとも
At-
神道を根城にしている奴が一人いる
I squint down toward the ground. There's 7 masters in total. I don't know who they are, nor which servants are with them. At this point, every master is probably gathering intelligence on their rivals. Suddenly, I feel someone's eyes on me. There's no reaction from my command spells. I simply sense that someone else is looking at me. I peer down. People are walking on the street, but one in particular is gazing up at me, as if staring at the moon. I don't know exactly who that is. I can't say for certain, and yet I know exactly who. I can't believe that guy. What's he doing out this late? Archer calls out to me. Maybe he can make out my rising hostility. Wow. I think I know who this is. Unable to clamp it down, I irritably snap back at him and step away from the roof's edge. He couldn't have seen me from the ground. Huh? I'm sure it was just a coincidence. I haven't given myself away, and yet my mage sight is screaming at me for allowing an eyewitness to catch sight of me. By the time I get to Miyama, it's 9 p.m. Unlike Shinto, Miyama is mostly residential. After 9, there isn't anyone outside, and the streets are silent as if it's much later at night. I start up the hill at a relaxed pace when I notice someone up ahead. Oh. Uh-oh. Now would not be a good time to run into her. As I answer, I keep an eye on her. In the middle of the street, there's a first-year student I know. Oh, and a foreigner I don't. I totally forgot about this. They're talking. No, it looks more like he's trying to pick her up while she'd rather be anywhere else. Even as I finish the sentence, I'm mentally telling myself off for being so soft on that girl. I forget how all of this works. Exactly. The blonde-haired man descends via the street we came by. Alright. I'm gonna end here for today. How the heck do I save? Is it this? Oh, there we go. Yeah, I'm gonna end here for today. Yeah, please subscribe if you're interested in watch me play this. I'm gonna be doing a few uploads of this a week. Yeah, I'd probably say 2 or 3 a week, depending on how things go. But yeah, thanks for checking this out, guys. And yeah, thanks Boogie Woogie for giving me your insight on some of this stuff. And yeah, I'm Wade Willis. Thanks for checking this out, and I will